The invitation arrived in a plain black envelope, no return address, sealed with crimson wax, stamped with a double-headed eagle. UV turned it over in his thick fingers, his bald head gleaming under the apartment's dim light as he frowned. Across the table, 50, broad-shouldered and coiled tight like a spring, snatched it from him. "Man, you know we don't do diplomatic shit," 50 muttered, his voice a low rumble. He wore a faded Knicks jersey, stretched across his muscular frame, gold chain glinting under the flickering fluorescent light of their Brooklyn apartment. UV leaned back, chestnut brown skin catching the glow of the muted TV. 50 broke the seal. The letter inside was typed in crisp Cyrillic, followed by English translation. His Excellency, Vladimir Putin requests the presence of Mr. UV and Mr. Phifty at the Kremlin. February 14th, a matter of mutual interest concerning certain transactions in Eastern Europe requires discussion. Transportation provided, discretion expected. 50 laughed a sharp, barking sound. Transactions. We move weight in Bed-Stuy, not fucking missiles. But UV's eyes had gone still. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a burner phone, and dialed a number he hadn't used in 3 years. When the voice answered, UV spoke a single word, Zarya. The line went dead. Then a new text appeared on his screen. Go. They know about the Prague drop 48 hours later. They stood in Red Square as snow fell in fat, silent flakes. UV in a tailored black overcoat, his bald head uncovered despite the cold. 50 in a leather jacket with his fists jammed in his pockets, both towering over the FSB agents who flanked them. The Kremlin loomed ahead, its towers piercing the gray sky. Inside, the air smelled of old wood and power. They were led through gilded halls to a private study, and there he was, Putin smaller than television suggested, seated behind a vast desk, hands steepled. Mr. UV, Putin said in precise English, eyes flicking to UV's gleaming scalp, his formidable build, and Mr. Phifty. I followed your work, not the street operations. The other work. 50 stiffened. Ain't no other work. Putin smiled thinly. He pressed a button. A screen descended from the ceiling. Grainy footage played UV and Phifty, 2 years prior. In a Prague warehouse, not counting bricks of cocaine, but loading encrypted hard drives into a diplomatic pouch, meant for a Czech intelligence officer. A side hustle. Neither had ever spoken about aloud. You stole data from SVR operatives, Putin said calmly. Data about NATO troop movements. You sold it to the highest bidder, a Turkish syndicate. This caused complications. UV didn't blink. His bald head tilted slightly, catching the light as he studied the Russian leader. We're businessmen, not patriots. Indeed. Putin stood, walked to a window overlooking the snow-blanketed square. Which is why I'm not having you shot. I'm offering you a job. 50 finally spoke, voice tight. What kind of job? Putin turned. A French intelligence officer in Marseille has something I want. He doesn't know he has ETA ledger detailing payments to certain disruptive elements in my country. You will retrieve it. Your methods are unorthodox, untraceable. The French will blame local gangs. No one will suspect Moscow. Silence stretched. UV's gaze remained steady, unblinking. He stepped forward, close enough that Putin could see the faint scar cutting through his eyebrow. We'll do it, UV said. But we want double. And one more thing. Putin's eyebrow lifted slightly. Yes, UV leaned in, voice dropping to a whisper only Putin could hear. We want the name of the SVR officer who sold you our names. The one who told you about Prague. For the first time, Putin's composure cracked just a flicker in his eyes, a beat of silence. Then he gave a slow nod. Done. They left the Kremlin as snow began to fall harder. In the armored SUV taking them to Vnukovo Airport, 50 finally exploded. Are you crazy? We just agreed to rob French intelligence for Putin. UV stared out the window at the white blanketed city, the snowflakes catching on the glass like static. We didn't agree to anything. He pulled a slim device from his Coda signal jammer. Then his phone. A single text lit the screen. Package received. Kremlin study bugged. Audio plus video en route to Langley. 50 stared, jaw slack. You wired the meeting. UV finally looked at him, a slow smile spreading across his face. The overhead light glinted off his smooth scalp, a crown of quiet confidence. Putin thinks he's playing chess, but he invited 2 pawns into his castle without checking their pockets. He tapped his temple. The Prague drop was a setup. CIA planted that footage 2 years ago, knew SVR would eventually find it, knew it would draw attention, knew he'd eventually come looking. 50 let out a long breath, shaking his head in disbelief. So the French officer never existed, UV said. But the SVR officer who sold our names, that's real. And now Putin just gave him to us. The SUV pulled onto the tarmac, where a private jet waited. UV looked back toward the Kremlin, a dark silhouette against the storm. Let him think he owns the board. UV murmured, kings forget pawns can take queens too. And as the plane lifted into the Russian sky, two men who walked in as criminals walked out with something far more valuable than money, the one secret even Putin could unafford to lose.